Hi everyone, welcome to AK PrintTech Hub. This is episode 2, part 1. Now, offset lithography is a big subject, really a big subject. So, we decided to split this episode into 3 parts so that you get the full picture without being rushed or anything left out. Each part is completely on its own and each one builds on the previous. So, please watch all the 3 parts to get full benefit. We have put a lot of effort in this subject behind the scene because offset lithography deserves that level of attention. It is the most widely used printing method in this world, and understanding it properly will make a big difference to how you work and how you think about print. So stay with us and keep watching, and let's get started with part 1.
Let us get into it. Here is what we are covering in this episode. We start with what offset printing is and where the name actually comes from. Then we look at the chemistry behind it, why ink and water work together to produce a clean image. We go through the three-cylinder system, the 8 parts of an offset press, and how plates are made using CTP technology. Then we cover CMYK color, paper types, ink types, press setup, common defects, finishing operations, and a full comparison between offset and digital. We also look at the real industries that rely on offset every single day and finish with a glossary of terms every print professional must know. This is a complete deep dive. Let us begin. So, what exactly is offset printing? Here is the cleanest definition I can give you. Offset printing is a technique where an inked image is transferred from a metal plate to a rubber blanket and then from the blanket onto the paper. The ink never goes directly from the plate to the paper. That indirect transfer is exactly what gives offset its name. The word offset means the image is shifted or offset from the plate to the blanket first before it reaches the final surface. Now, let me give you a bit of history because understanding where something comes from helps you understand why it is designed the way it is. The offset principle was first invented in 1875 by Robert Barclay in England. His machine was designed to print on tin for food and product containers, but at that point it was not used for paper. Then, in 1904, an American printer named Ira Washington Rubel made a discovery by accident. He noticed that when paper accidentally ran through without picking up the ink from the plate, the rubber blanket had already received the image. And when the next sheet ran through, the impression from the blanket was actually sharper and cleaner than the direct plate impression. That accidental discovery led to what we now know as offset lithography for paper printing. Today, modern offset presses can run at 15,000 sheets per hour with registration accuracy of plus or minus zero point 0.1 millimeters. That is the level of precision this process operates at. Over 40% of all commercial printing in the world is done by offset. Books, magazines, packaging, catalogs, pharmaceutical leaflets. If it is printed at high volume with excellent quality, there is a very high chance it was printed by offset. Now let us talk about the science, because offset printing works on a principle that is elegant in its simplicity. Oil and water do not mix. That is it. That is the foundation of the entire process. Here is how it works on the plate. The aluminum plate is treated with a photosensitive coating. After exposure, the image areas become hydrophobic. That means they repel water and attract ink because the ink is oil-based. The non-image areas become hydrophilic. They attract water and repel ink. So when the plate is on the press, water is applied first to the entire surface. It coats the non-image areas. Then ink is applied. The ink cannot stick where the water is. It only sticks where the image is. Clean, precise, and consistent every single rotation. Before we move on, let me explain the word lithography because you will hear it often in this industry. Lithography comes from two Greek words, lithos, meaning stone, and graphia, meaning writing. The original process, invented in 1796, used polished limestone slabs as the printing surface. Artists would draw directly on the stone with a greasy crayon, and the same oil and water principle applied. Today we use aluminum plates instead of stone. The chemistry is the same, the name stayed. So when someone says offset lithography, they are describing both the indirect transfer and the ink and water chemistry. Both of those ideas are built into the name. Every offset press in the world, whether it is a small desktop model or a large commercial sheet-fed press, is built around the same three-cylinder system. Let me walk you through each one. The first is the plate cylinder. This cylinder holds the aluminium plate. It receives water first, then ink in every rotation. The image areas pick up ink. The non-image areas stay wet with water. The plate cylinder never touches the paper directly. The second is the blanket cylinder. This is covered with a special rubber material. It receives the inked image from the plate cylinder. At this point, the image on the blanket is reversed like a mirror image. The third is the impression cylinder. This cylinder provides the precise pressure needed to push the paper against the blanket. As the paper passes between the blanket cylinder and the impression cylinder, the ink transfers from the blanket onto the paper. And because the blanket was carrying a reversed image, the final print on the paper is right reading. So the sequence is plate to blanket to paper, two transfers. Why use a rubber blanket at all? Why not print directly from the plate? Because rubber is flexible. It conforms to the surface of the paper, even if the paper has a slight texture or variation. A hard metal plate pressed directly onto paper would miss those micro-level surface variations and produce an uneven print. The rubber blanket is what makes offset printing so consistent and so sharp, even on imperfect paper surfaces.
And that is part 1 of episode 2 done. We covered what offset print actually is, the ink and water chemistry that makes the whole process work, and the 3-cylinder system that every press in the world is built around. This is the foundation. Make sure you understand this concept before moving to part 2, because everything we cover next builds on what we just